record, so let's go ahead. I think we were somewhere on page 5 or something of the agenda, regular agenda.
Number 16 is next.
Number 16, case number CE2104-0017, case address 305 31st Street.
Good morning, Joe Petrick, West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This case in reference to a home business that is operating without a current business tax receipt or certificate of use. Prior to issuing a notice of violation, in late February, I contacted a respondent and gave him a courtesy notice. He advised he was out of town attending to family matters and thought he paid for the BTR. We agreed he would get a copy of the canceled check from the bank, and he would email me a copy as the city has no record of payment. I didn't receive the email, nor did I hear from the respondent after the courtesy notice was given. Subsequently, I issued a notice of violation via certified mail and posting on April 6th. The notice of violation gave the respondent 30 days to comply by obtaining a business tax receipt and a COU for the home business. After the notice of violation was issued, I again spoke with the respondent. He apologized for not getting back with me as he was still attending to family matters out of town. He requested more time to comply. I advised him that the city would be asking for 30 days to comply and will be asking for a fine of $100 a day thereafter. The time expires. As of today, the property remains out of compliance with code sections 2232A and 82144.
All right, I will find proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the evidence and the testimony, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. Accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 17, case number CE2104-0022, case address 3514 Broadway has complied. Matter number 18, case number CE2104-0024, case address 444 24th Street.
Joe Petrick, West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This case is in reference to a restaurant that is operating without a current business tax receipt or certificate of use. They both expired in September of last year. Prior to issuing the notice of violation, I attempted to contact the respondent and I ended up leaving him a voicemail on a few occasions. I never heard back from him. The notice of violation was issued via certified mail and posting on April 6th and gave the respondent 30 days to comply by obtaining a business tax receipt and certificate of use. As of today, I have not heard from the respondent, and the business continues to operate. The property remains in violation of code sections 82144 and 2232A. The city is asking for compliance within 30 days or a $100 a day fine be assessed.
You have proper notice with the posting in the certified mail. On the 82144, is that a one-time?
It would be, yes, it is.
That's for the previous case as well, I think. Is that right?
That's right, that's correct, yes.
Okay, so while we're on the case that we're on, this is a case that ends in 024. I do find proper notice, find the property remains in violation as cited. For 2232A, I'll do allow 30 days to comply. After that, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved. For 82144, I'll impose a one-time $250 fine, and then I just want to go back to agenda item 16, which was the case ending in 017. It would be the same remedy for that, the one-time $250 fine for 82144.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Matter number 19, case number CE2104-0311, case address 704 36th Street.
Joe Petrick, West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This case in reference to a single-family residence that was cited for not having a rental license, for trash and debris on the property, along with the landscaping on the property in need of restoration. The notice of violation was issued via posting and certified mail on April 16th and gave the respondent 30 days to obtain a rental license, remove the trash and debris, and restore the landscaping on the property. Prior to issuing the notice of violation, I contacted the respondent, Christy, who I am familiar with from other code cases. Christy explained she applied for a rental license in March of last year and forgot to call in for inspections. Christy said that she recently had tenants move in, and the trash and debris was a result of the property being renovated. She said she would speak to her tenants and bring the property into compliance. I met with the respondent and the tenants yesterday. As of today, the property remains in violation of 94-446-2. Some of the landscaping has been restored. She put some sod down, but more needs to be done. 18106A, the trash and debris has been removed from the carport, however, some remains in the back and side yard. 18162A, due to the time that passed, she has to reapply for her rental license.
Because why?
She has to reapply because of the time that passed. She applied for it in March of last year.
Oh, okay.
It would have expired in September. The inside looks like it's going to pass okay, but she still has to reapply for it.
Okay.
Okay? When I was talking to the respondent, Christie, yesterday, we agreed that 30 additional days would give her enough time to comply. The city is asking for 30 days to comply or a $150 a day fine be assessed.
Okay. We'll find proper notice with the certified mail and posting, even though the respondent is not present. Based on evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. Accept the city's recommendation to allow an additional 30 days for the violations to be complied. After that, daily fines of $150 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Matter number 20, case number CE 21040527, case address 915 North Australian Avenue has complied. Matter number 21, case number CE 21050149, case address 1338 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. Number 22 is also a duplicate of 21.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Officer Phil Cartwright, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. Property at 1338 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard was originally cited on May 12th of 2021 for unpaved parking and outside storage. Service was achieved by certified mail. The property was posted on May 12th of 2021 as well as City Hall. All of the violations are still current. The city is asking that the property come into compliance within 10 days or $100 per day thereafter.
Thank you. With the certified mail and posting, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the evidence and the testimony, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. Accept the city's recommendation, allow 10 additional days to comply, thereafter daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Again, matter number 22 is duplicative of number 21.
24 has been complied.
That's the same as 23, right?
Correct. Yes.
Number 23, case number CE 21050184, case address 625 Clear Lake Avenue has complied. Number 24 is duplicative of 23. Matter number 25, case number CE 21040048, case address 701 56th Street.
City of West Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on April the 2nd. Certified mail was sent April the 6th. Certified mail was received April the 13th. This property was cited for 18-106A, 18-106B, 74-34A-1J, 94-442C-1, 18-106M, and 94-42A. Compliant violations are 94-482A. Remaining violations are 18-106A, 18-106B, 74-34A-1J, and 94-442C-1, and 18-106A. The city is requesting additional 30 days or $100 per day after.
So they complied with the parking requirements, but everything else still in violation?
Yeah, only the parking, they only complied with the unpaved parking.
Okay. Did they just move the car off the,
Yeah, that was it. They just moved it off out of the yard and start parking it on the driveway.
all right, and everything else is still in violation?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where was the excessive growth?
It's on the west side of property. It's a few pictures back there. Oh, gotta go back some more. The other way. It was along the fence and all, right there on the,
Okay,
along the fences in the rear as well.
thank you. All right, I will find proper notice with the certified mail that was received. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I'll find the property has complied with City Code 94-482A, but remains in violation of all other code sections that were cited in the notice. I'll accept the city's recommendation to allow 30 additional days to cure the outstanding violations. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 26, case number CE 21040139, case address 5515 Spruce Avenue.
Robert Watkins, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance. This property was cited on April the 6th. Certified mail was sent April the 7th. Property City Hall was posted on May the 7th. This property was cited for 94-440, that's 446-2-6-3. Remaining violations are 94-4462-C-3. The city is requesting an additional 10 days and a one-time fine of $125. And they mounted their tent, the coverage that they had up using the trees, one in the swell and one in their backyard.
So you're not, the code prohibits them from,
Yes, I spoke to the tenant, and she's the owner, and she's aware as well. She's getting a company to do posts back there so she could have her coverage, but not using the trees.
okay. All right, with the certified mail and the posting, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. Tell me again the relief you want.
10 days,
10?
yes, sir,
Or-
and $100 per day after.
I'll accept that recommendation, allow 10 days to comply. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
The one-time fee.
Is it a one-time fine or a $100
Sorry, the
daily
one-time
fee?
fine of $125 is what it was.
Pardon me?
It was the one-time fine of $125.
Oh, so it's no compliance deadline?
No,
it's
she's
just-
having that, they're taking it down today, so she's requested 10 days. So I told her I would, come here and request for the 10 days, but there is the one-time fine for having it in the trees.
Okay, so one time of $250.
125.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing, I guess. One-time fine of
125.
$125.
Yes, sir.
So ordered.
Matter number 27, case number CE 21040380, case address 715 48th Street.
City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on April the 19th. Certified mail was sent April the 20th. Certified mail was received April the 23rd. This property was cited for 105.1, 94-71C, and 94-42A. No violations have been complied. Remaining violations are 105.1, 94-71-C, 94-42A. I have had communication with the homeowner. He states that he just needs more time to get the rest of the yard completed. The city is requesting additional 60 days or $50 per day after.
And what's the permit?
The shed that he built in the rear, he's dismantling and taking it down. So until he takes it all the way down, it was still the shed that he built itself in the rear on
Okay.
concrete. When the picture started again, it was the very first one is built.
Yeah, I
now.
saw
Yeah.
it, okay. And there's the outdoor storage. Okay, I do find proper notice with the received certified mail. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. Accept the city's recommendation, allow 60 additional days for compliance. Thereafter, daily fines of $50 per day till compliance is achieved.
Matter number 28, case number CE 21040419, case address 5009 Pinewood Avenue.
City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance Officer Robert Watkins. This property was cited on April 21st. Certified mail was sent April 21st. City Hall was posted on May the 7th. This property was cited for 18-106A, 18-106B. No violations have been complied with. Remaining violations are 18-106A and 18-106B. The city is requesting 15 days or abatement, 15 days or $100 a day fine and abatement after that.
Okay. Is this vacant lot?
Well, they just built the home on the lot.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and that stuff's been out there for, I haven't gotten any calls or anything. I've passed by a couple of times, but there were just inspectors there. I've reached out to the property owner and I haven't heard back from them.
Is there still an active building permit?
No, all the ones that I seen were closed already.
Okay. I would imagine even if there was, this doesn't comply
Yeah,
with
they're supposed to
construction
have
site
a
standards.
receptacle out there to put the trash in.
Yeah. All right, with the posting in the certified mail, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the evidence and the testimony, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. I find that those violations constitute a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. I will allow the respondent 15 additional days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. I'll also authorize the city to enter the property, abate the health, safety, and welfare violations, and assess those costs.
Matter number 29, case number CE 21040528, case address 353rd Street, Unit 6, has complied. Matter number 31, case number CE 21040310, case address 811 14th Street.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, Code Enforcement with the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited April 14th. Certified mail was signed for April 19th, and the property in City Hall were posted April 22nd. Property was cited for 1816A, 18215B, 7434A1H, 74-483, 74-4C4, 74-4C5, 944462, and 9471C. I've had contact with the property owner. At this time, the city is requesting an additional 15 days or $25 a day for code sections 7434A1H, 9471C, and 94446-2, and for the remaining violations, 30 days or abate. Special magistrate, this is just like the last case I mentioned about the alleyway and cleaning it up. That's why we would need the abatement for the rest of the violations.
For the non-alleyway cases, it was how many days? 60?
30 days or
30 and
abate.
25 a day?
Oh, wait, which one are we talking about? I'm so sorry. You said for 7434A1H, 9471C, and 944462?
Yeah, how many days?
15 days or 25, and
15?
$25 a day, yeah.
Okay. And then the others, you're asking for 30 in abatement?
Yes. That's going to be the theme for the next couple of cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, with the certified mail that was signed for, the city has proper notice. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. I'm going to accept the recommendation in this case for violations of case number 7434A1H, which is the trash can in public view, 944462, which is landscape maintenance, and 9471C, which is outdoor storage. I'll allow the respondent an additional 15 days to comply. After that, daily fines of $25 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. For all other violations, I'll allow the respondent 30 days to comply, but after that, I do make a finding that those violations constitute a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. I will authorize the city to enter the property, abate the violations, and assess the costs.
Matter number 32, case number CE 21040345, case address 807 14th Street.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, Code Enforcement with the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited April 15th. Certified mail was signed for on April 21st. The property and City Hall were posted April 22nd. Property was cited for 18116A, 18162A, 18215B, 2232A, 74-4C4, 7894C, and 9471C. I've had contact with the property manager. At this time, the property has complied with all violations other than 18162A and 2232A, and the city's requesting an additional 30 days or $200 per day until compliance is achieved.
So everything but the certificate of use and rental license is complied?
Yeah, they, at the time of the inspection, they failed the inspections. It's still some items that needs to be addressed before we can issue the rental license.
All right, so 30 and 100, 30 days and $100 per day?
$200 per day, yes.
All right, with the certified mail and the posting, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find property has complied with all sections that were cited in the notice, except for 18162A regarding the rental license and 2232A regarding the certificate of use. For those violations, I'll allow 30 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 33, case number CE 21040382, case address 1501 Division Avenue.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, Code Enforcement Officer with the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited April 19th. Certified mail was sent out April 23rd. And, certified mail was signed for April 23rd. Property and City Hall were posted April 22nd. Property was cited for 18168A, 18215B, 74-483, 74-4C4, and 74-4C5. I've had no contact with the property owner. At this time, the city is requesting an additional 30 days or abate. Alleyway.
Is this a school? Is this a,
It's a daycare, I
Daycare?
believe, yeah. It's for the alleyway too, as well.
okay.
It's gonna pop up when you can kind of see it.
I'm just scrolling through the pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, thank you. I do find proper notice. Certified mail was signed for, even though the respondent is not present and you've had no contact. Based on the evidence and the testimony, I will find property remains in violation as cited. I'll allow 30 additional days to comply after that. Finding that the violations rise to the level of a health, safety, and welfare consideration, I will allow 30 days to comply. After that, the city is authorized to enter the property, abate the violations, and assess the costs.
Matter number 34, case number CE 21040546, case address 816 Ellie Kirksey Street.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, Code Enforcement Officer with the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited April 26th. Certified mail was signed for May 1st. Property was cited for 18168A, 18162A, 18215B, 2232A, 74-4C4, and 74-4C5. I've had contact with the property manager. At this time, the city is requesting an additional 30 days for code sections 18162A and 2232A, or $200 per day, and for the remaining violations, 18215B, 18168A, 74-4C4, and 74-4C5, 30 days or abate.
Are you asking for 200 a day or 100 a
Yeah,
day?
$200 a day for the rental license and COU violation, and 30 days and abate for the alleyway.
Okay. I do find proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. I'm scrolling through the pictures again.
Yeah, you can't really get that's really as much as you can see.
Yeah, no, I want to see what you want to abate.
The alleyway. It's not really a good picture. I haven't been allowed in the alleyway. We can't get through it.
Okay. All right, I will find the property remains in violation as cited for the rental license, which is 18162A, and the certificate of use, which is 2232A. I will allow 30 additional days to comply with those violations. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved for the other violations. I will also allow 30 days to comply. I do find the violations constitute a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, and therefore will authorize, after that, the city After the 30 days, the city can enter the property, abate the violations, and assess the costs.
Thank you.
Okay, jumping to the lien reductions. I think
Okay.
everyone needs to be sworn in, special
Yep.
magistrate.
Okay, we're moving on to the reduction hearing agenda.
3028, Robert? Oh, yeah.
If you're here for one of the reduction hearings, and you were not here earlier this morning when I placed people under oath, if you're going to be testifying to me about any of these matters, your testimony needs to be sworn, so I need to place you under oath. I can do that for everybody at the same time. If you'll please stand and raise your right hands if you're able, and I will swear you in. Do each of you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. When your case is called, you can come to the podium to my right. The city will give me some background information on the case, and probably will make a recommendation on the city's position regarding the request for the lien reduction. And then I will come back over to you. You'll be able to tell me about the request. And once I've heard everything from both sides, I will likely enter an order on your case at that time. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, agenda items, other matters, number 2 and 5, same address. Case number CE 06010463 and CE 06070723, case address 3028 Robert Road.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Mitch Posner, Code Enforcement, City of West Palm Beach. Case ending in, doing these in chronological order, oldest one first. Case ending in 463, 3028 Robert Road. Date ordered 4/5 of 06. Fine started 6/6 of 06. Ran for 5,244 days. Total is $1,311,000. Was $250 a day. Date of compliance is 10/14 of 20. Same owner. Or I should say the estate of the same owner. It was owned by the wife. The surviving husband is the applicant here.
Okay.
Case ending in 723, 3028 Robert Road. Date order 10/27/06. Fine started 4/28 of 07. Ran for 4,898 days. Total $244,900. Fine was $50 a day. Date of compliance 9/24 of 20. Again, same owner or estate thereof. The mitigation is basically unaware of this, but back when these cases occurred in 2006, Mr. Mitchell, the applicant, was aware, and in the case ending in 723, he appeared at hearings, and in the case ending in 723, he signed a stipulation agreement as to the terms of the magistrate's order. Based on the size of the liens, obviously we can't ask for too high a percentage. On the first one, the city's asking for 2.5%. That's case ending in 463. On the case ending in 723, the city is asking for 15%. It's worth noting under normal circumstances that would be a 50% ask.
A 1.3 may be a record. I'm not sure I've seen a lien that high since I've been sitting here.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I just say I thought maybe a record. I'm not sure I've seen a lien that cracked $1 million since I've been sitting here.
Not a record, not the highest I've seen, but pretty darn close.
Oh, wow, okay. And that's just, by the way, that's not important.
Understood.
Can I talk now?
Just give me 1 second, sir. I'm just taking a look at,
I can hardly hear you.
let me get this closer. Is that better?
That's
Thank
a
you.
lot better.
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing today as well. I don't know what's going on. All right, and you are Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I have PTSD from the Marine Corps, and I have short-term memory loss. And my wife has been, was deeply depressed from 1973 after postpartum depression, and she had at least 6 phases of shock treatment. She was suicidal for all those years, and she died in this 12/3/2019. But in the meantime, the only thing that seemed to help her was if she took in relatives to stay with me or to stay with us, and they never paid, and they always robbed from us. But you know, it was her relatives, so I didn't want to cause any more trouble, so I just worked 2 jobs. And you know, one job I only worked 4 days, 8 hours, and the other job I worked, you know, the 5 days for the school board, and I was also a bridge tender. And when I was working the 2 days, on the 4th day, I would be in so much pain from lack of sleep, you know, that I really didn't know what I was doing. And then that didn't help my memory loss or my flashbacks, but it was helping my wife. And she was so bad that I had a house that we were paying for, or I was paying for. She couldn't work, and I didn't know it, but she wasn't paying the mortgage on either one of them. And one day I came in and she was crying, and they were going to take both houses from us. And so I got my brother to buy one, and you know, from me, so I could pay off the other one, the one on Robert Road, and we moved in there. And then the relatives came. You know, my nephew was staying with me, and or her nephew, and he was a brilliant person, and he worked for my father-in-law, who was a very honest and good roofer, and everything had to be done perfect. So he knew how to roof. When the inspector came out, the inspector told me, I heard him, and I went out to see. No, I believe in the inspectors, and from what I've seen here, I really believe, because I know that, you know, properties can ruin your prices of your property. And my nephew, you know, did the report for the hurricane, and we got a settlement for $27,000, and he was going to do the roof and some other repairs. And the inspectors, I went out to see him. The inspector said, "Who did your roof?" And I said, my nephew right here." And he walked right up to him, and he says, "That's the worst roof I have ever seen in my life." He says, I wouldn't let you on my roof. He says, "Matter of fact, if you came in my yard, I'd shoot you." You know? And so I hired somebody else to fix the roof, and I told him, I said, "You've got to, you know, stay up with the permits. You know, I had him take out permits for everything we were gonna do. Was gonna put in a fence. I got a permit for that. I got every permit that I needed, because my brother was a electrical inspector, and I definitely believe that, you know, permits might cost you a little, but they can save you a lot, which they did save me. Otherwise, I would have, you know, been there with that roof that was the worst that he had ever seen, you know. And but anyway, somewhere or another, he got all of the money. He took, he bought some wood and laid it down in the ground. And I told him, I said, I was in the termite business, and I told him, I said, you know, the termites are gonna eat that wood up. Oh, no, they won't. I said, look, there's 16 colonies of termites in every acre, and there's definitely termites in this acre. And he says, oh, he'll be all right. Well, the termites ate it all up before we could do anything, before he could do anything with it. But I just, after everything was going so bad and the relatives kept moving in and stuff, and so I moved to St. Andrews, which they had a policy that you couldn't have guests for more than 2 weeks. And I said, that's for me. That's all I need to know, is that way I wouldn't have to have guests, and I wouldn't have to fight with the wife and upset her. You know, if I said anything about her relatives, it just, you know, I was afraid she'd kill herself, you know. And I lived under that fear the whole time. And I signed this paper. That's definitely my signature. And I thought all this stuff was being taken care of. And I asked the person who was doing the roof, the second one, he says, oh, everything's going fine. They're inspecting, everything's good. And so I believed him too. And, you know, I just, I don't, you know, I forgot all about this paper, but I knew that I thought everything was going fine on that. I also got one I had a FEMA trailer, and they wrote me up for the FEMA trailer because it didn't have screens. And that was one of the things I had to pay for too. I don't know if he said that, I couldn't hear what he was saying. But, you know.
So let me stop you for a minute. I have a question for Mr. Posen. Does the city's records reflect what happened with the roof permit in terms of when it was pulled and how it was closed out and that sort of thing?
We certainly can't dispute any conversations with him and the contractor, but they never did obtain a roof permit until complying this in October 2020. That's when they finally obtained a roof permit to get this complied.
So in 2020, a permit was applied and they did an inspection, I guess, and
Yes, sir. It passed inspection.
Excuse
the
me?
inspection at that, so it ran for
5,244 days.
15 plus years. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to get that information on it.
What?
Go ahead.
Okay, I just, I don't know, with all this, like I had to get an engineer to inspect the roof, and, that was costly. Another thing is, I got the neighborhood to sign with Florida Power and Light to put underground electric throughout the whole neighborhood. 100% of the people had to sign up for this or we wouldn't get it. Mm-hmm. So I had some people go around and talk to all the Spanish people because I couldn't speak Spanish, and we got 100%. Well, we took out a permit for the electrician, and he messed that up, and then, I paid him, or he was paid, and I gave in some, and the electrical people, Florida Power and Light, came out and was doing the underground stuff, you know. So I didn't have to switch the roof because they were going to do the underground. They said, there it's showing right there, that, you know, this had to, you might as well go ahead and do it because it, you know, you was ordered to do it. So we went ahead and did that, you know, and I've, you know, did everything I could after I knew that this was going on, you know, and this, you know, it would be, you know, I think everything was done, and
I mean, sir, I'm going to ask you to kind of wrap this up. I've got 16
Okay.
other cases
All right,
after your two,
that's
so I just need,
That's
you
it.
go ahead. I'm not cutting you off, but I need you to wrap it up. Kind of
Okay.
tell me what you're asking for.
pardon me?
Do you have any final comments on your request?
No,
All right.
no, sir.
All right. Anything else from the city?
Yes, sir. First, the city thanks Mr. Mitchell for his service. We can't dispute or confirm a lot of what he said. We were not aware of any of that. The only mitigating circumstances given was the lack of knowledge, which we've already commented on. But based on the testimony given, for case ending in 463, we'd like to reduce the ask to 2%. And case ending in 723, reduce it to 10%.
All right, so the city's request on the case ending in 0463 would reduce the $1.3 million lien to $26,000, and the city's request in the case ending in 723 would reduce the roughly $245,000 lien to $24,400. That's the city's request. Okay. Is that right? I'm
Yes, sir.
terrible at math. I think that's,
Yes, sir, that's correct.
okay. All right. Having heard from the respondent, or the applicant, as well as the city, and considered everything I've heard, I'm going to in the case ending in 0463, that is the current lien is $1.311 million. I'm going to, this is a big reduction, but I'm going to reduce that to $5,000. And the other case, I'll reduce it to $1,000. I'll give you 12 months to pay that. And I will sign those orders. Okay.
What's the, what are they for? The 1,000, what was that for?
That's for the second case.
What?
That's for the second case. You have two cases.
Okay, that's for the trailer?
The second case was cited for exterior repairs, storage, restricted vehicle, and paint. So that would include the
There
trailer.
was a boat, not a, I don't know
can't
if it was
hear
a
you.
trailer, but there was a boat not properly screened. So that is my order in those cases.
That was a FEMA trailer, and it didn't need screens because it was air
It says
conditioned.
nothing to do with a FEMA trailer. It talks about a boat.
What was that for?
The case that I'm reducing the lien to $1,000 from $250,000 was,
I can't hear you.
Mr. Posner, can you have somebody speak to the gentleman offline? We've got 16 additional cases to get through. I don't mean to be rude or short, but I've entered my order. We need to move on.
Okay, other matters, number 16, 17, and 18, same address. Case number CE 17080642. Case number CE 17080650. And case number CE 17090155. Case address 7111 Norton Avenue.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. Chronological order, oldest case first. To be clear, these were pretty much concurrent cases,
Okay.
because two of them were actually citing the business, not the property owner.
Okay.
As it is clouding title, the property owner has opted to try and reduce all three liens. Case ending in 642, 7111 Norton Avenue, number 1. Date order 10/4 of 17. Fine started 1/3 of 18. Ran for 903 days. Total is $225,750. $250 a day. Date of compliance 6/24 of 20. Same property owner and same business occupying that space right now. Case ending in 650, 7111 Norton Avenue, number 7. Date order 10/4 of 17. Fine started 1/3 of 18. Ran for 903 days. Total $225,750. Daily fine $250 a day. Date of compliance 6/24 of 20. Also, same property owner and same business owner in that space. Case ending in 155, 7111 Norton Avenue. This will be the main property and property owner. Date order 11/1 of 17. Fine started 12/31 of 17. Ran for 906 days. Current fine is $226,500. It was $250 a day. Date of compliance 6/24 of 20. Same owner. City's asking for 10% on all three. Worth mentioning, his property history is 13 cases under this ownership, plus an additional 9 cases on the individual units that they rent out, which were against, again, the individual business owners, not the property owner, but they're choosing to represent both here.
So that I'm
The
clear,
mitigation, I'm sorry,
So that I'm clear, 17 cases on the business?
13 cases on the main property,
On the
another
property.
9 on individual businesses on the parcel. There's several units there. The only mitigating circumstance is that it's the code officer's fault for not being clear on how to resolve violation. I've got copies of the notice of violation for all 3 cases. It's very detailed and specific as to what needs to be done, as most of our notices are. And as I said, city's asking for 10% on all 3.
So, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Are the way that the violations are listed on my agenda, is that taken from the notices? And the reason I ask, it gets to your last comment. These are extremely detailed explanations of on all 3 cases. I mean, these 3 cases take up like 6 pages of the agenda, so.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's taken from the, well, let me put it this way. What's on your agenda and what's on the notice are both taken from what's put into the computer system.
Okay.
And it's the same information.
Understood. Okay. And these are the notices of violation that you just gave me, so yeah.
Yes, sir, for all 3 cases.
Yep, okay.
If you'll notice the way the notices are laid out, each violation is listed 3 times. The first section shows the code and the word for word from the city code itself. The second one is a basic description of the issue, and the third one is what the violator would need to do to comply the case.
Okay. All right, let me hear from the applicant.
Thank you, Magistrate Davis. We're not disputing the.
Let me get your name and address and,
I'm sorry. So my name is Stephen Grant. I represent Esfander Bebuti and the property owners. My address is P.O. Box 424, Boynton Beach, Florida 33425. I'd like to thank Mr. Posner in helping us get all this information, because it was not easy getting into compliance, because they say, here's what you need to do. They don't tell you all the steps. So the main thing was the paving. So my client ended up paving it. However, the code compliance officer didn't tell him that he needed a permit first. And after looking through the backup documentation, we noticed that there were some misrepresentations in the West Palm Beach's documents. For a case ending in 0650, the affidavit is not properly notarized, which I have a copy. There's no notarized signature of it. And so I don't know if that defeats that lien, but it is something that, according to law, I don't believe an affidavit needs a notarized stamp in order to be valid. The second case would be ending in 0642. The case is City of West Palm Beach versus Los Amogas Auto Repair. However, the city incorrectly used the respondent's property owner's name on that lien, not the business. So that's why we want to make sure all this is correct. And so that's kind of something else that is not correct, that the lien is against a business owner, or the property owner, twice for the same things when it was supposed to be against the business. So we're asking for the two liens against the businesses to be to have no payment, because all of the violation codes were on the property owner, and they were not properly documented according to law with the correct name on the lien and a notarized affidavit of noncompliance. In regards to my clients, the property owner, we sent in a notice of compliance, and I have the property owner that was there talking with the code compliance officer at that time, who believed that they were in compliance.
when did that happen?
It happened in January
You need your-
2019.
Hang on, you need to identify yourself.
Oh, my name is Francisco de Jesus from Los Amigos Auto Repair, and that happened in January 2019. Mr. Alex Lopez, when he go there, I asked him if everything was fine, and he said yes. I don't have no paper, nothing to keep it going, because this be going for 4 years.
Thank you.
Magistrate, if I may.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely come back to you, Mr. Posner, but let me let them finish up.
All right, thank you.
So 2019 is when you had the meeting with the code enforcement officer.
And that time, we thought everything was good.
Okay.
I ended up looking on behalf of my client for his properties and found the lien recorded online. And so I immediately contacted Mitch Posner on October 18, 2019, because that is when the first time I was aware of the code violation. We spoke with Mr. Lopez, and he informed us that the paving needed to be permitted, which was not informed to my client before. He thought he could just pave the stripes as was previous. In addition, my client hired a contractor who pulled a permit and then failed to execute on that permit. My client hired another contractor, and in June of, 24th, a code compliance officer, Richard Pardismo, sent me an email, confirmed that the code cases have complied. The email was August 4th, that on June 24th, 2020, all the code cases have complied and the fines have stopped. And then we filed an application. We took the application from the internet. We did not know that it was the old application, had to redo the new application. We had to have the city correct the expired permit. That was from a mechanical hood from 2002 that was correctly permitted in 2013 and passed. I have emails from, I believe, Andrew McGregor and Dylan Battles closing that permit. Then regarding the paving, the second permit, we were getting in trouble because that first permit expired, and the city saw that the 2020 permit the 2020 permit was complied, and so they closed out that expired permit. In addition, we got a bill from the police department for $675. That was in the computer system. I asked for an invoice because that number didn't seem right, and City of West Palm Beach made up an invoice to say $125. I can show you a copy of it. There's some miscommunications. There were some missteps on both parties, and so we're requesting 1% as high as 5% for the one lien on the property owner, because we feel that that is the only lien that complied with the legal requirements of having a notarized affidavit and on the correct property. If you'd like me to bring up any of the documents.
You can show anything you want me to consider, show it to Mr. Posner, and then I'll take a look at it.
Magistrate, before he does that, if I can be heard.
Go ahead.
Okay. As you know, we don't want to do lien reductions to rehear entire cases. If there's anything that needs to invalidate a case, the city has in the past and will do so in the future. Take care of that before it ever comes to you. The applications are designed to bring all these things out. None of this was disclosed. At this time, the city would like to pull this and research all this if these issues are going to be considered in the reduction.
Okay. Let me see what the applicant's position is on
I mean, in regards, I have the document here of the affidavit of noncompliance that the city gave me when I requested the code cases. So we're inclined to get a hearing done today without my client inferring further costs to him. So I'll be happy to show him, and these
so
two
I will
documents.
tell you that based on what I've heard so far, I'm not inclined to reduce the 2 to 0 and the last one to 1%. So at this point, but if you want the resolution today, I'm happy to proceed. I'll leave it up to you guys. I'm happy to continue the matter and let these be researched thoroughly.
No notarized stamped. I want to show you the documents and bring them to him, because that's what he said to do. And then here, it's Los Amigos, and the lien was on.
Okay.
So are we, is the respondent's request to proceed today?
I'm going to have to ask my client.
Please do.
Because the city, we want to work with the city, and they've helped us out tremendously to try to get this correct, because this is not always an easy matter with the black and white words on the paper. So we'll accept the City of West Palm Beach's request to research these items a little bit further.
I think that's a great idea. Let's continue this. I'm not going to set it for a date certain when you have. Hopefully you can
There's no
resolve
longer a
it.
question of qualifying for a later date. They've already qualified for the lien reduction hearing.
Right.
So as soon as the parties agree, we can get it back on the docket.
Maybe you guys can work it out offline. If not, put it back on the next available agenda.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
you.
Other matter number 1, case number CE 06020615, 4404 Georgia Avenue.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Whenever you're ready.
Case ending in 615, 4404 Georgia, date ordered 4/19/06. Fine started 5/20/06, ran for 424 days. $42,400 is the total, $100 a day. Date of compliance is 7/18/07. This is the same owner. We've already checked on notice. It was sent to the correct POP address. The mitigating circumstance given is actually the applicant says, made a mistake. The city's issue is this was in 2006 and 7, and the only reason they're even trying to rectify this at this point is the property is for sale for $665,000. Here's the question. Sir, have you already sold the property?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. So the property's already been sold for $665,000. I've got the warranty deed here. The city's asking for 50%.
50? 50?
50, sir.
Thanks. What is the use? Is this a garage?
It's an auto repair shop.
Auto repair, yeah. There we go. Okay. Oh, there's a good picture too. Okay. All right, let me come over to the applicant. Yes, sir, tell me your name and address, then you
Yeah,
can tell me
Miguel
about
Lavin, 4404 George Avenue, I'm the owner. The actual violation was on the building part that owns the newspaper, Latino Seminole. There was a door there that was all destroyed at the time, and the walk steps were there. I was just trying to repair them. I wasn't trying to build a second story or anything like that. I did that. Unfortunately, I violated some rules, and eventually I pulled my permit and complied with everything. I was forced to sell my building because I've lost my business because of COVID. I've lost my mom, I've lost my brother, and I've lost my grandmother. So if the city wants 50% of it, that's fine. I don't think it's totally fair because I really didn't do anything but beautify the property, which is what I wanted to do at the time. By the way, I would like to thank Ms. Williams and Mr. Prasino and Felicia Adams. They were very kind to me, helping me with all this matters, even though I'm not totally.
Okay.
But the building was forced because of, I had to sell it. I just couldn't afford it anymore.
Okay. Anything else from the city on this one, Mr. Posner?
Just for starters, city, sorry for your loss. And just to be clear, we're not trying to single out any particular owner. As the magistrate knows, that's a fairly common ask given the set of circumstances.
All right. Any final comments, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Then the lien in this case is $42,400. Based on what I've heard from the city and from the applicant, I'm going to agree to reduce this to $5,000. Can you pay that within 6 months?
Right now.
We'll say 30 days for the sake of the order.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir.
You'll have a blessed day.
Other matter number 9. Case number CE 20080041, case address 727 Hampton Road.
Nope. Good afternoon.
Well,
We cracked the new.
it's morning
hour.
somewhere.
What's that?
It's morning somewhere.
It is morning somewhere, not here.
If it's 5 o'clock somewhere, it's got to be morning somewhere
Yeah.
also.
Whenever you're ready.
Case ending in 041, 727 Hampton Road, date ordered 9/16 of 20, fine started 11/16 of 20, ran for 99 days, total was $9,900. Fine was $100 a day, date of compliance 2/23 of 21. This is the same owner, owned since 6 of 2019. Case history is 3 cases in that time. Mitigating circumstances is blaming the tenant and a lack of knowledge of city requirements. I'd like to point out that he had said tenant with no rental license until this application came in, but I would have to assume that's part of the lack of knowledge of city requirements. City's asking for 50% at this time.
Are the May 7th pictures I'm looking at current?
I'm sorry, sir?
The pictures that I'm looking at from, like, the date stamp is May 7th. Are
It
those-
was current on that day. Are those the most recent pictures in there? Then yes, sir.
All right, let me hear from the applicant. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Every time that I got notification for,
Let me get name and address.
oh, sorry, Dave Henderson, 16931 West Cheltenham Drive,
Yes, sir.
Loxahatchee, Florida. It's my first experience with renting, and apologize, ignorance is not an excuse, but every time I got notice of something, and I'm not sure what happened with the rental license, but that seemed to take quite some time to, once I understood I needed a rental license, I came and applied for it, and it took a couple months at least. Everything seemed to take a couple months, including a permit for the fence that I was under the impression it was like for like. It was a chain link fence there. I replaced it with something more beautiful, and that wasn't allowed. So I got a permit once I found a contractor, which took a couple months, and the permit process took a couple months. So everything seemed to kind of drag out. And then once I seemed to get the nightmare renters into compliance, they and things were checked out, something else came up. The grass was too high. Okay, got that taken care of. The trailer was moved, but into the driveway, that's not acceptable. Got that taken care of, but everything just seemed to continue to drag on, which took 99 days in total.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anything else from the city?
Just one thing I left out. I guess he's getting out of the rental business, at least on this property. It appears to be listed for sale for $329,000.
Okay. Can I see, I'll just keep scrolling. So, well, the lien is $9,900. Yeah, just leave it right there. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna reduce it to $2,000, but you gotta straighten the weather vane out on the roof. That's driving me crazy.
It's been straightened, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I had the house tented, and they and the chimney is also lopsided. The metal piece at the top of that, so
Oh, I missed
been
that.
rectified.
Weather vane totally caught my eye. Nope. So, okay, how long will it take you to, can you pay that in 30 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 30 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other matter number 6. Case number CE 16040648, case address 9857 Baywinds Drive, Unit 9206.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Whenever you're ready.
Case ending in 648, 9857 Baywinds Drive, number 9206. Date order 6/15 of 16, fine started 7/19 of 16, ran for 1,688 days. Total $168,800, $100 a day. Date of compliance 3/3 of 21. Same owner. Mitigation was not aware, and also there was a divorce issue involved. I believe she's saying her husband was the one managing the property, and she got the property in the divorce. Only one case in the history. Normal ask would have been 30% based on the size. The city is asking for 10%.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Name and address, and then you can tell me about the case.
Sure, I'm Jamie Snarsky. I live at 617 Lighthouse Drive in North Palm Beach. I'm an emergency physician. I've never wanted to own property. I take care of COVID patients, and I have 2 small kids, and I never wanted to be a landlord. And in 2016, when this code violation took place, the property was under Delmo Land Real Estate Holdings, which was my ex-husband's company. And in the divorce, he took a lot of things financially from me, but I did get a couple of properties. And basically I wanted to let the people write out their leases. And then I wanted to sell because like I said, I'm not a landlord. And during COVID, I was trying to evict a lady who wasn't paying at this address. Couldn't get a hold of her, couldn't evict her because of the moratorium. I didn't even find out until I was able to evict her, and then there was another property in the same community that I was trying to sell as well. And then the title agent found, wow, there's this lien. So that very day, I called code enforcement to get the details. He called me back the next day. That was Kevin Levine. And I went right out to take pictures of what he needed. And ironically, in February, I was able to get the eviction. And kind of around the same time I found out about this, we got her actually evicted. And come to find out, all the notices were going to that address, not to my address. So I had no idea that this was going on, because obviously I would have addressed it much, much sooner. My ex-husband also says he doesn't know, but I can't control anything there. So really, I just had no idea.
Okay. Is the property, is there new tenants in, or are you?
No, I signed I notarized that it's
Non-rental
vacant.
affidavit.
Yeah.
She signed a non-rental affidavit.
Okay.
And basically, she trashed the place. I have to spend $25,000 in remodeling fees, and I just want to get rid of it.
Understood. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Anything else from the city?
We have no reason to dispute any of the information she's given. We just have the property trail, which sort of shows same ownership.
And I also, sorry, by the way, I have all the divorce documents and when I acquired the property, which was 2019.
Yeah, again, we have no reason to dispute. If she wants you to see that, no objection.
I have no reason to believe that that's not the case.
The only thing to make note of is she did mention the other property, which the husband was managing before the divorce too. On that one, he did get a rental license, so I don't know what went behind the thinking of that.
But that's not part of this.
So, right, but the point is, ownership at the time knew rental license were needed.
Right. Okay. All right. Any final comment, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right. So in this case, we have a $168,800 lien. It was a rental license certificate of use based on the testimony and the circumstances that I've heard. I'm going to agree to reduce this to $2,500. Can you pay that within 30 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 30 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other matter number 4, case number CE 20070089, case address 9050 Lakes Boulevard.
Good afternoon. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Posner.
Case ending in 089, 9050 Lakes Boulevard, date ordered 9/2 of 20, fine started 10/2 of 20, ran for 16 days. Total is $2,400, $150 a day, date of compliance 10/18 of 20. Hang on one second. Yes, same owner. The mitigating circumstances is it was the fault of the contractor, which of course, for purposes of the lien, is still the owner's responsibility. It's really a civil matter between them and the contractor. This is the only time they were cited. City's asking for 30%.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Mitchell, 507 Northwest Lake Whitney Place in Port St. Lucie, here on behalf of my father and mother, Dean and Lynn Mitchell, at 9050 Lakes. Dean is behind me.
Yes, sir.
So At the time that this occurred, unfortunately, my parents were out of town traveling for an extended period of time. So they were not receiving notices. They were actually out of town when the repairs started. Before the repairs, they had thought that they went through all of the necessary steps. They obtained HOA approval, POA approval, and they were remedying a landscaping issue as a result of some drainage that was not properly functioning at the request of the HOA and POA. They relied on a landscaping company, Precision Landscaping, who told them that because they were simply restoring what was already there, no permits were required. In retrospect, they should not have relied upon that company, but it was a highly rated company and one that they thought was reputable. We did submit a number of documents for Your Honor's review, but I'll kind of briefly walk you through the timeline. My parents left for the summer on July 5th. The work started in mid-July. In late July, the work was stopped by the city, and a notice was posted on the door, but my parents were not home and did not know. They were simply notified by the landscaping company that there was a minor issue with paperwork that was going to be resolved, and then the work would be resumed. They were finally notified by a neighbor in August that there was something on the door, and they immediately contacted the landscaper and were told when they got a photo of the paperwork that if it was remedied by August 28th, all the issues were resolved. And we submitted a number of emails back and forth with the landscaper confirming, and an email dated August 27th where they said, quote, "The fine is waived," or "the citation is waived." So my parents were under the impression that everything had been adequately resolved prior to the imposition of any fines, and therefore that there was no hearing they needed to come to on
Who provided that correspondence?
Precision Landscape, and I have a copy of that
Okay.
if Your Honor would like to see it. It is among the documentation that we provided. I'll read it for Your Honor. From Raquel at precisionlandscapeco.com. We dated August 27th. We got a permit. Yay. I'm waiting for approval now, hoping today. Citations waived.
Okay.
So my parents thought everything was addressed. The work ended up being completed in November, after everything was confirmed to them in writing from the landscape company that all of the permits had been appropriate. They made the final payment. They were then notified by, frankly, a solicitation from another attorney asking if they wanted help resolving a lien, that there was a lien against their home, which they had no idea had ever been imposed. So I think the paperwork here and the trail shows very clearly they had no intent to go around anything. From out of town, they were sending correspondence, making phone calls. They were being copied on correspondence from the landscaper to the city, and they relied on the landscaper who told them that everything had been resolved. So we're asking that the lien be waived because we feel it was a large misunderstanding, and hope that Your Honor will agree.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Posner.
I certainly object to waiving the lien completely based on, city time on all this. But there's one thing I wanted to clarify. You said Raquel had sent something saying the citations were waived. That's a person from the contracting company?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so that didn't come from city personnel. Best guess is the contractor.
I'm sorry, if I can address that. It was in a series of emails between Raquel and permits@WPB.org, copying an R. Sargent at WPB.org. So that email was sent specifically to my parents. It wasn't copied on the city, but it was forwarding a chain of emails from the city, which certainly gave them reasonable expectation that that was a legitimate confirmation.
Does it say somewhere, do you have that email here? Can we see that?
It was submitted with the documentation prior to the hearing. I agree that the city, I agree the city never said anything.
All right. No, there was nothing said from city personnel saying anything was waived. Best guess is maybe there was a conversation online. Sometimes when they determine there's no fault on the work without permits, they'll waive the 4 times fee that permitting requires for a permit after the fact. There might have been some confusion on the part of the contractor there. No idea. City has nothing further.
Okay. Any final comments?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. In this case, we have a lien of $2,400 based on the testimony and the information I've been provided. I'm going to reduce that to $240 payable within 30 days. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Other matter number 3, 12, and 13, same address, case number CE 20040089. I'm getting there, hold on. Case number CE 19060395 and case number CE 21020019, case address 3704 Westview Avenue.
Good afternoon. How you doing? My name is Jason Swade. I'm here.
We're going to come right back to you after I hear from Mr. Posner and Mr. Slade. I
problem.
appreciate your enthusiasm.
Good afternoon.
So just give me just a quick second. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Chronological order, oldest case first, case ending in 395-3704 Westview. Date ordered 7/17 of 19, fine started 8/19 of 19, ran for 227 days, total $22,700. Fine was $100 a day, date of compliance 4/2 of 20. For this case, this is a new owner. He was not the owner at the time it was caused. City's asking for 30% on that one. Case ending in 089-3704 Westview, date ordered 9/2 of 20. Fine started 10/2 of 20, ran for 139 days, total $13,900. $100 a day, date of compliance 2/18 of 21. Same owner for this one. City's asking for 50%. Case ending in 019-3704 Westview, date ordered 3/3 of 21. Fine started 3/15 of 21. Ran for 49 days. Total is $4,900. $100 a day. Date of compliance 5/3 of 21. Same owner. City's asking for 50%. Mitigation is COVID, which certainly doesn't apply to the oldest of the 3 liens, as that came with the property when purchased. And the building lien is actually done to work without permits. COVID doesn't actually cause anyone to do work without permits. No, that's it for now. City's asking for 50% on the
So
second two, 30% on the first one.
Yeah, let me have that. But then I have a question. I've never.
Can I ask you to break down each one of the cases?
Just a
Because-
minute, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so, Mr. Posner, I'm looking at agenda item 12 and 13, and it indicates split order, and it has,
Thank you, sir. I did
at
leave
least on
something out.
13, there's a 2,800 and a 4,900, and then on 12, it has 22,700, and then the other number's cut off on my agenda. So if you can explain that.
Thank you, sir. I did leave something out. Okay, so let me get the right one first. Case ending in 395, that's the one that was from the prior owner. It was a split order. The second half of that, date ordered 7/17 of 19, fine started 7/25 of 19, ran for 209 days, total $20,900. $100 a day, date of compliance 2/19 of 20. And the other split order was from case ending in 019. Date ordered 3/3 of 21, fine started 4/5 of 21, ran for 28 days, total $2,800. $100 a day, date of compliance 5/3 of 21.
All right, and again, you're asking, the city's recommendation is 50% on the the case ending in 089 and the case ending in 019. And what was on the,
Yes, sir, and 30% for the two on the split order from case ending in 395.
yeah, well, so what are you,
30%.
30 on that one? And that's the one with that's a prior owner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Get caught up here real quick. Okay, let me come over to the applicant. Yes, sir, now it's your turn. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Swade. I purchased this property for me and my family. I am a local investor that buys maybe one or two houses, sometimes at the tax deed. This one was purchased at the tax deed auction. When I purchased it, the starting bid was about $70,000. Ended up going for $135,400. When I did the lien search, a lot of the prior case was not yet recorded, so it didn't come up in the lien search. All the surplus that, there was a back water bill from the previous owner. I had that paid from the surplus. There was some other violations for $20,000, $30,000. Also had my attorney address that from the surplus. And ever since I purchased the property, I put together a plan, construction plan. Unfortunately, due to the COVID circumstances, it threw a wrench in my gears, and I was having a hard time finding people. I ended up just doing the work myself, and it took me a little bit longer to get everything done and everything in compliance. But I've been doing my best. I live in Boca Raton, and I was looking to relocate to West Palm Beach. And everything I've been doing, I've been having a very hard time finding people to work. And that's been really the biggest struggle. But we pulled a permit for the roof, replaced the roof. I originally put in a permit for the windows, and I paid for that permit, only to find out that you're not allowed to change those windows due to the fact that they're historic. So I had to find somebody that could rebuild those windows and repair those windows the same way that they were in 1938. And that was a struggle on its own, because everybody that came, they wanted to hit me over the head for $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. I'm like, I could get all brand new windows, impact windows for that price. And so finally I find a guy that does custom boat building, and he was able to repair those windows that needed repair. They were completely corroded, so I threw them away, some of them, and then kept the other ones. They ended up being able to be repaired. And that's really what took the longest time. As far as the other stuff, like there's a lien in there for an abandoned car. And from the day that I purchased a property, there's never been a car in the driveway, abandoned car. What it is, I think it's the neighbors' cars that used to park their car there. And they still sometimes park their car there, but it's a little bit nicer car. It's not flat tires, etc. As far as the rest of the other stuff, I tried to beautify the property. So I put some patterned tiles on the front, and I also tiled out the whole walkway. Well, only to find out that because it's a historic significant site, you can't do that. So I had to I literally ripped up all the tiles I had put in, and then refloated the walkway with red cement to make it like the city wants it, Frederic. And all I've been doing, see, I just put brand new sod. I've been doing all the stuff myself. I had to fix the sprinklers. Where you see the driveway is, that was covered up with the dirt. I dug up all that dirt and moved it out of there. And it's looking now a lot better than it did when I purchased it, I could tell you that for sure. And I also put some closias on both sides of the property to kind of beautify it a little bit more. I trimmed down all the trees, etc. So we've been doing some significant amounts of work. And even that front door that you see there was rotten. I had to basically fix it with wood repair, putty, etc., sand it down, etc. And so basically all I've been doing is just trying to make it look as good as possible with the minimal help that I have right now. I can't really seem to find people that want to work these days for some reason. I don't know if it's because of the unemployment or the COVID or whatever the case is, but you know, I'm doing a lot of this stuff myself. And you know, it's now it's in compliance. Everything is good. The windows have been repaired. The roof has been repaired. The landscape has been trimmed and upkept. I have a lawn service taking care of the lawn. So I ask, you know, I put basically all the money that I had into this property to make it up to this. To get hit with more fees and liens and this and that, it's not really fair just because I'm not the person that caused the big lien. That was the previous person that owned that property. And a lot of the surplus payments already got paid out to the city. Like there was I believe, an $11,000 water bill that got paid. I also paid out on the permits. I never got that money back. And you know, now it's looking like they want it.
Okay. No, definitely clear from the pictures that you've put some work into it.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Posner?
As far as the oldest lien is concerned, the liens were recorded in, it's a split order. The liens were recorded in August and September of 2019. Records showing he purchased in December of 2019. I don't know when the title search was done, but perhaps that's a civil matter between him and the title company if the liens didn't show up in December. I don't know what the issue is there, but they were recorded by that time.
Well, and I think that the statute requires a seller to put a buyer on notice if there are code enforcement matters.
And how does that apply to a tax deed sale?
Pardon me?
How would that apply to a tax deed sale?
Oh, okay.
You know, there's no reason to dispute that. It was a tax deed sale for $135,000.
That's right.
But it was in December of 2019. I don't know what happened with this
Okay.
title search.
Well, regardless, okay.
You know, not the city's responsibility. Appraised at the time for $151,000. Magistrate, of course, is required by code to take into account what he's spent on the property. But that doesn't absolve all of the accountability, of course.
Okay. Any final comments, sir?
What are you finding me accountable for, if you don't mind me asking, Mr. Posner?
You became accountable for the older lien when you purchased a property that had a lien on it, and the other 3 liens were caused under your ownership.
Yeah, what are those liens for? Those 3 liens?
The first lien is for work without permits. That was a building division case. The other 2 is for, actually, a case we discussed before we ever got to this lien reduction. One of the orders and fines was for landscape issues. The other was for missing address characters, unpaved parking, and prohibited vehicle, which was a trailer.
Yeah, so the trailer was the trailer that I use for the actual construction. I use that trailer to schlep stuff back and forth.
Well, so let me stop here. I'm not retrying these cases. That's not
Yeah.
the purpose
Thank
of
you, sir.
today's hearing.
But I also want to say just one more thing, please. Also, there's a case in there for an abandoned vehicle. There's no abandoned vehicle there since I purchased the property. I made sure of it. The grass, I could show you invoices that I started having the grass cut, and they still went out there and pretended to clean the property and tell me, oh, it's a nuisance property. We cleaned the property. Now you owe us $207. So they charged me another $207, even though I cleaned up the whole property.
It was also a chronic nuisance property, sir.
Yeah, but it wasn't, you guys charged me for chronic nuisance. I had already cleaned the property, and you guys still sent somebody to clean the property, which was not fair. Then I had to end up paying that. And if the neighbor next door is throwing his black and milds into my lawn, and I ask him to stop on multiple times. That's not really my fault that the people next door is throwing trash into my lawn. I don't yet live at that address. So if it gets a little bit dirty, when I go there, when the landscaper goes there, he'll clean it up. But ever since I purchased a property, it's only been towed one time due to the COVID because everything was shut down. We're shut down for like 2-3 months. And that's when the property didn't get the grass cut, but they still, even though it was in COVID times, they still went out there and put a notice on the door and the whole 9 because of the uncut grass. And it was only one time that it was probably 12, 13 inches long. Before that, I kept it maintained. I still keep it maintained. You can see in the pictures, I fixed the sprinkler, I fixed the roof. I fixed all those broken jealousy windows, repaired them. I repaired all the other windows that were rotted, along with hinges. There was a big hole right there. I put a 2x4 with a 4x4 right there and kind of put dirt on top and buried everything. And so for it's crazy, $151,000 lien. It's more than the property it was purchased for. Basically,
What do you mean, 150? Hang on, I don't understand what you mean when you say there's a $150,000 lien.
You said there's one of the cases got $151,000 lien on it.
Magistrate, I'm not even sure which of these amounts could have been misconstrued for that.
Not on these cases.
There's no six-figure liens involved here. None.
No, okay.
My calculation is there are 3 cases with a total of 5 liens that total about $65,000, more or less. That's what we're talking about in terms of the cases that are before me today.
Basically, with this property, the city has received a significant amount higher than the original amount owed by the property from the surplus. I had the attorney that handled the quiet title for me, make sure the city got paid in full for all the previous liens and for the water bill. And that was one of the top priorities that I had when I purchased the property.
Magistrate, he's talking about resolution liens, hard costs, utility costs that have to be paid.
No, I
Regardless,
understand.
they cannot be reduced. That's not the issue before us.
Yeah, those were paid in full, is what I'm saying. Just to clarify,
sir.
they got paid from the surplus.
Yes, sir.
And I do want to thank Mitch Posner and Monique and everybody. They were very helpful with the whole process. It just happened to be that this COVID is kind of backing things up. And, it's water under the bridge now. It's all remedied. And I'd like to get the best deal possible just because I already invested all my money into this property.
All right, we have 3 cases. The case ending in 089, which was a 2020 case, has a lien of $13,900. I'm going to agree to reduce that one to $2,000. The case ending in 395, which was a 2019 case, this was the one with the past owner, has a total of $43,000 and change, more or less, in liens. I'm going to also agree to reduce that one to $2,000 because that's a past owner. And then the last case ending in 019, which was a 2021 case, which has a total of about just under $8,000. I'm going to agree to reduce that one to $1,000 for a total of $5,000, but they're separate orders. Can you pay that in 30 days?
Able to give me a little bit more of a break? Honestly, I
Can you
put a
do
lot
that
of
in
money into
90
this
days?
property. And
Can you pay it in 90 days?
it's been vacant all this time. I haven't been able
How much time do you need, sir? Let me ask it that
Are
way.
you able to do 3,000 for me, please?
Pardon me?
Are you able to do 3,000, please? On the
No.
3 cases?
No.
And that would cover costs, that would cover...
$5,000 within 12 months. Thank you, I'll sign that order.
All right.
I mean, it's 2,000, 2,000, and 1,000
I
within 12
appreciate
months.
you regardless.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Other matter number 14, case number CE 2007-0035, case address 418 31st Street. Give me a moment to draft your orders, okay? Just give me a moment to draft your orders.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Posner.
Case ending in 035, 418 31st Street, date ordered 8/19 of 20, fine started 9/21 of 20, ran for 161 days. Current fine is $16,100, $100 a day, date of compliance 3/1 of 21. Same owner. This is the only case under that ownership. It was for work without permits. Essentially what they would have needed is a fence permit. They had put up just the posts before they were cited. The mitigating circumstances given is COVID and permit issues, but it ran for 161 days, and they complied the case in the end by simply pulling up the poles. So I don't know that it should have taken that long. City's asking for just standard 30%.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Rebecca Miller-Sprafka, and I reside at 418 31st Street. And thank you for hearing my case. I own and maintain a lovely home in Old Northwood. Last year, my 10-year-old daughter was sent home from school to virtual school due to COVID in her classroom and issues in her school. In an effort to allow for her to have shade in our backyard, this is a private and wood fenced rear yard. So that picture that you're seeing right now is actually our side yard and has nothing to do, that's where the code enforcement violation is, that section just inside that rear alley section. And to have shade in our private and wood fenced rear backyard facing an alley, I had a handyman install some 3x3 posts to allow temporary sun sails for over her trampoline for her to use during her required daily virtual PE class. These sun sails are heavily prevalent in my neighborhood and throughout the city. They are simple and permanent pieces of light fabric attached with a string to a tree or a post. She was greatly relieved to have the shade bounce daily in her PE class. We then, shockingly to us, received a code enforcement violation. A neighbor across the alley to the rear, evidently, and again, across the alley, this isn't on the front of the house, there's just a small alley in the back, evidently did not like the posts, and rather than speaking to us directly concerning his issues, he reported us to city code compliance. We were unaware that a simple post holding no structural items would require a permit. We then applied for an after-the-fact permit. The city gave comments after some time, requesting very expensive structural engineering for the single wooden posts. At this time, I became extremely ill with COVID. It totally derailed my life. I documented my journey on multimedia platforms. So it is well documented. I'm kind of a well-known entity in the city in the sense of what my public work involves. And in order to educate my friends who were not taking COVID as seriously as I thought they should, I was ill with COVID for 5 months. And in fact, still not fully recovered. I'm still suffering from some lingering effects to this day. I evacuated away from my family to an hour north of here for my recovery with the fear of sickening my children and husband and my staff. I was truly physically and mentally incapable of dealing with this issue from when we had submitted the permit and it was just kind of in this limbo land. So unfortunately during this time I'd had letters forwarded and to my other address, and for whatever reason they kind of all arrived in a clump together after several weeks. Once I received the letters and was well enough, I contacted the city. Staff were extremely kind, so thank you for that. They were great to work with. They always are great to work with in the city. We worked with the city to cancel the permit, and we were told, we were walked through the process. We canceled the permit, and then we removed the posts, and the shades had been removed immediately when the permit request was submitted. So we'd removed those as soon as we received the code enforcement violation. So it was just the posts that were up. And if you look at the picture, they were just, I don't know why we don't have a picture of where this was. It was a couple of posts just in the back alley holding up sunshades right back there.
Right, these pictures are from the lien reduction inspection, it's not from the
Oh, I
violated
see,
case.
okay. So, again, I take great pride in our home, and I also take pride in the contributions I make to this city daily and weekly through my work. We apologize for all. We certainly didn't intend to get anyone's feathers up, and it was truly a response to a child being home from school with little to no activity. I would ask that this lien be removed due to the general state of excellence of my property, my state of health confusion, delayed receipt of notices, and my ensuing cooperation. COVID is truly to blame, and I would ask the city to understand and waive its lien today.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Posner?
There's no reason the city would have to dispute any of her testimony at all. I reiterate, they've only been cited the one time. I would like to say that there's nothing in city code requiring COVID be considered as a reason for a reduction, but when the code was written, nobody actually knew about COVID. So the city certainly has no objection whatsoever to that being a factor.
Okay. Any final comments?
No, I just appreciate everyone's time.
All right, so we have, this is a $16,100 lien. Based on what I've heard from both the city and the applicant, under the circumstances, I'm going to reduce this to $500. Can you pay that in 30 days?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other matter number 8, case number CE 18120195, case address 1006 10th Street.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Whenever you're ready.
Case ending in 195, 1006 10th Street, date order 26 of 19, fine started 49 of 19. Read for 764 days, total is $152,800. $200 a day, date of compliance 5/12 of 21. This is the same owner. This was actually still accruing when the application for the lien reduction came in. Mitigating circumstances is the permit took too long, but in actuality, the permit had been denied on April 22nd of 2019, and it was not. They didn't resubmit until 10/10 of 2019, almost 6 months later. So it would be either the owner or the contractor's fault, not the city's fault for taking too long on the permit. Based on the size of the lien, the city's asking for 20%. Normally, that would have been a 50% ask.
Yes, sir.
All right, my name is Tyler Highland. My address is 7592 Great Oak Drive, Lake Worth, Florida. I'm the property manager for this property in question. You'll have to forgive me, I don't have all the background knowledge on this property and as far as the violations and everything, as I just began working as the property manager for this property. It is my understanding that there was a violation for the railing, which needed to be secured, as well as a violation with the driveway. The violation with the driveway was the one that kind of had that extended timeline on the permitting and everything. All I really have to say regarding this matter is that we've worked diligently to take care of it. It is my understanding that we met with an inspector from the city, at least believe on 2 occasions, to kind of go over what was occurring and what needed to be done. And yeah, we're just looking to get it reduced, hopefully.
Mr. Posner, anything further from the city?
No, sir, didn't actually offer anything that we could dispute if we had even been so inclined.
I'm not allowed to consider the Vans sweatshirt, right? Because I wear Vans. I'm wearing Vans right now. It's the only shoes I wear. So I
Good
guess
choice.
I'm not allowed to consider that, though. All right. Any final comments, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Properties, is it fully occupied with tenants right now?
That unit at the top left corner is currently vacant, unit 4 right there.
All right, this is a lien in the amount of $152,800. Based on what I've heard and testimony from the city and the applicant's representative, I'm going to agree to reduce this to $15,000. How long will it take to pay that?
I'll have to delegate with the owner, but I would say be feasible around 60 days.
We'll put 90 days on the order.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other matter number 10 and 11, same address. Case number CE09080274 and CE12010445, 913 6th Street.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Chronological order of this case. First, case ending in 274-913 6th Street, date ordered 9/23/09, fine started 11/23/09. Ran for 630 days, total $63,100 a day. Date of compliance 8/15/11. Same owner. Case ending in 445-913 6th Street. Date order 3/21/12, fine started 4/24/12, ran for 3,240 days, total $324,000, $100 a day. Date of compliance 3/8/21. City's asking for 50% on the first one and 20% on the second one. Filling in some of the rest of the blanks, this is actually recalled from 2 weeks ago. When we came, they posited to the magistrate that they could provide evidence that this had not been rented, which might have lowered one of these liens before it was considered. They were given the opportunity to have the decision rendered then or pull it. They opted to pull it. They sent us several pieces of information, but none of it amounted to proof, one of which was a report that the owner had a vehicle stolen from the property. That doesn't prove that none of the 3 units were rented. The other was a utility bill in the owner's name. Same thing. We're not showing that it was family living there. What we did find, however, as we looked further into this, is 4 separate instances, including the year where this lien for no rental license took place, where they filed with the county for an eviction.
Say that again.
4 separate times where they filed for an eviction with the county. So if they're not tenants, I don't know what they're filing for an eviction. And also what we have, which we had presented last time, was after being cited, they applied for the BTR, for the rental license, and the owner signed an acknowledgement of landlord property owner, which is a notarized document. The city is no longer going to entertain any thought of this having not been rented after everything we came across in that time. On top of that, when we first received the original application, we were told the mitigating circumstances was it couldn't have been rented because it was homesteaded, which of course is not necessarily accurate. But then they said at the hearing that that was a mistake, it hadn't been homesteaded, after we provided documentation from the county that it had not been homesteaded.
Can you give me a little more information on the eviction information you found? What were the general dates of those?
One was 2012, 2013, right around the time frame of this case. All the others were earlier. We're talking around 2000, 2001, 2002. but since the testimony was it had never been rented, even those earlier ones is showing that it had been rented at some point. And the one from 2012, again, is a case in point, right in the middle of where we're.
Remind me what's been going on since, have there been current rental licenses and certificates of use in the years between 2013 and today?
No, sir, that's why it's been such a, that's why it was 3,240 days out of compliance. There were no rental license earlier. At this point, we have a non-rental affidavit on file from them, but that occurred during this lien reduction process. It very well could be at some point they stopped renting it, but the city, again, is not going to entertain the thought that it was not rented at any time whatsoever, which is what we were told then.
All right. All right, let me go over to the applicants. Let's hear from the applicants. Remind me your names and addresses, and then you can tell me about where we are with the case.
Hi, Your Honor. My name is Amanda Preisinger. I'm his affidavit agent. I'm his real estate agent, but I also know him personally, so I'm trying to help him. And this is...
My name is Samuel Thompson, and my address is confidential. And to address the eviction process...
Yes, sir.
At this point in time, when I purchased this property back in 1999, 6th Street, if you've been in this area, was nothing but a drug area. At that time, I was in law enforcement. I bought 2 properties. I bought 909 and 913.
Okay.
At the time that I purchased them, they had tenants in them. My whole purpose of purchasing the property was for my family members because my mother has a brother here that we all wanted to take care of. So she was going to live in one, he was going to live in another, and my sister, because she had 6 kids, was going to live in the other ones. But due to circumstances in life, when my wife decided to leave me, I end up losing one of the properties. So then my mother became ill because of her health issues, which I don't want to make it public. But anyway, so she moved over to 913. My nephew, is not a bad kid, but he's very handsome and females just love him. So he would have one week, another one next week, and he was living in one of the units, and then he would take off and go to California and leave them in there, and the only way for me to get them out is to evict them. But at the time, I was traveling back and forth to Virginia because that's where my wife moved to see my kids because they were still young. And the time when my mother passed away, then my uncle passed away, and so now the property is not being rented. My sister's in there taking care of my mother. My mother passed away. So now I'm trying to remodel the place when I came back in town, and I had a trailer park there to help me bring in materials that was parked in the back of the unit, which would be stolen. He has a police report of that. And then if you look at, and I gave him, the bills that I gave him was proof that I was paying the bills because my family members were living there. I wasn't paying someone else's bills. I'm not that rich. And then on top of that, once I got rid of 909, the gentleman who purchased it, he's not monitoring that unit, and drug dealers moved in.
And they're side by side, just so you can understand, they're side by side, so his unit faces them and their unit faces him. So it's all a giant circle, pretty much, in between everything.
So at the point, me trying to fix the unit up and trying to clean it up, this is my only mindset. The tenant is allowing them to harass me, and so for my safety and not trying to kill nobody or anything like that, I stopped going out as much as I could. Then the COVID hit. I don't know how many times I called
Code enforcement.
code enforcement
On them.
because I'll be down there. I even moved in number 1 again. So I'll be down there trying to clean up number 2 and number 3. And the noise, they come home, they bring their TV out, they bring their boom box out, and I'm trying to sleep, I'm trying to rest, so I had to move back to my place in Roy Palm Beach.
And we also, I just got this morning because his sister, I couldn't send it to you, but we do have the death certificate of his mother that states that she was living at 913 6th Street. So I wanted to give that to you because I just got it this morning from his sister because his sister's in California.
So again, this information is all what took place. I know we're not here to readdress anything, but again, you have a police report, you have the bills in my name, and then you have the big, huge water bill for not paying, not having the water been inactive. And that itself is clue that nobody was living there.
What period of time was she living there?
My mother?
Yes, sir.
My mother lived there from it was 2003
Until she passed.
Until she passed.
That was, tell me again,
He doesn't, what year, do you know?
what year?
2011, I think it was.
And Mr. Posner mentioned a 2012, 2013 eviction. Was that the situation with the nephew?
Yes.
Yes, that was that. And then the other thing that he had is that the water bill, it's what we explained last time, it's why we came back, because the water bill, I know we have to pay the water bill in order to get even on the reduction. So we knew that, but the reason why the bill was $16,000 was because back in 2010, whenever he was trying to remodel the units, the city of West Palm Beach actually flooded his units. So that's why Arlene was involved, because we found this out last time that he didn't know that we had that. And we have the proof that it was filed that the city of West Palm Beach, he was out of state or out of, where were you, out of?
At that time I was driving trucks, Your Honor.
So he was out of the town pretty much. So he had no idea that the city of West Palm Beach was changing the water meter. And then the guy, the contractor with City of West Palm Beach who came out actually turned on the water meter without even letting him know, and that's why the water bill was $16,000, is because he didn't want to pay that because the City of West Palm Beach flooded the units, and he has proof of that the City of West Palm flooded it. Then they ended up putting his mom and his sister in a hotel, and that showed proof, though, that his family was living there, because the contractor that City of West Palm Beach hired was putting his mom and his sister, in a hotel. So they were there at the time as well. That confirmed it. But the problem is getting it from 11 years ago. That was our problem. But at least we were able to get that she at least lived there. The death certificate showed her death was that address. That's the only proof we could be able to get from 11 years ago, because the property has been vacant for the last 7, 8 years. And we also had proof of that when the code enforcement, Phil Cartwright, came in. He even saw it smelled like death pretty much, but it was just, the whole thing was there, all of it wasn't redone. You can tell no one's been in there for years in the units. And ever since they got evicted, which was his uncle, or was it your uncle, I think it was his name, the uncle is the one that we have the documentation of hold on, it's right here. The police report, that was his uncle who was there. That was the trailer that was stolen. That's the police report that we have as well. So we're trying to prove that his family was living there. But again, because there's no water bill in the name, he can't confirm that there was, but his family was living there at the time. And I don't know how else we can prove it to try to go back 11 years. The sister tried, and she's in California. She's been trying and trying. We don't know how else to confirm it, but it's what we have.
All right, so let me ask this question. I've heard a lot of testimony about the rental question, but there's another case that talks about minimum property standard, landscape maintenance.
Yes.
I haven't really heard anything about that case.
So we were going to get to that, I know, but the renter's license had a lot of everything on there. The external doors and windows, he had impact windows since he bought it in 1999. So I don't know how there was windows broken or
Well,
anything.
again, and I'm sure if you were here, you've heard me say this, I'm not retrying the case. It was found in violation of those things. This is not the venue or the forum to retry that case.
Okay.
What I'm asking is, there's an order that found the property in violation of those. What is the request in terms of the lien reduction and why on that?
To be honest, as little as possible. I mean, 1% would even be tough for my client. He's on a fixed income. That's the problem right now. And he just paid $16,000 to even get on the docket for today. And he paid that a month ago because he had to pay that right away to even get on it for the 2 weeks ago.
Is that
So
because of the water bill?
that
and
was the
everything?
$16,000 water bill that the city of West Palm flooded. That's why that was so high. But he literally used all of his savings money to be able to get on there, to be able to even be here today. So as little amount as possible. I mean, my client can do 1%. That's as much as he can possibly do. He's trying everything to do this. He truly is. We've been trying to comply, and Mitch has been great with it, with sending the information. Monique, everyone has been great about it. The code enforcement officer, Phil, he tried coming out there ASAP so we can get it done. He just wants to get out of debt. That's all he's trying to do. He had no idea that the liens were even on there until we got the unit for sale. That's the only reason how we found out he had the liens on there, and ever since then, we've been trying to comply. I've been personally trying to help him. My mom, everyone's been trying to help him.
All right, thank you. Let me go back to the city.
First, a question, is it under contract?
It is under contract. It's been under contract since December when we found this
For
out.
how much?
$350.
Okay. That was the information we had, that it was selling for $350,000. We would say 1% is certainly too low for the circumstances. Given proof of earlier compliance, the city will always adjust the compliance date. What they've given is circumstantial at best, with the exception of the death certificate that we just received now. But if I understood testimony correctly, she unfortunately passed in 2011. And the case for non-rental license was after she passed. So we've got no way to backdate that, which means that has to stay at that amount until, of course, reduced by the magistrate. We asked to pull it last time because testimony changed up from what was put in the application and the affidavit for that, and now we've heard new testimony today that there were squatters and drug dealers, and that's the cause of the eviction. So it's kind of hard to keep track because the information
We
keeps
also-
changing.
Sorry.
Do you have I know you gave it to me the last time, but do you have a property appraiser?
Did I not give you one? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Now, whether or not it was a relative that needed to be evicted or not, the case with the no rental license, I mean, the notes in the case was they were contacted by a tenant regarding the conditions inside, cited for the conditions and the no rental license, and then sent in a copy of their attempt to evict that person, which failed. But then they tried again, and it succeeded months later.
Okay.
So we have nothing to show that it wasn't actually rented.
So, and if I could talk for 1 second, could I say something?
I have a question, and then
Sure, absolutely.
What's the time frame on the closing of the sale?
We have been floating in the air. It was supposed to close in January, and that's how we found out the liens. It's been floating, and the buyers at the end of their 1031 exchange, so that's the thing. It's ASAP, pretty much, so we're waiting on this.
So as soon as this matter is resolved, then it'll get a closing date, do you think, within the next month or so?
Hopefully, it depends on the amount for him, if he's even able to pay it off, because he still owes on the triplex. So it depends on the amount to see, because if he has it or not, that's the problem.
Right, and with that pending is why it's before you instead of back in front of Magistrate Wagner again.
Pardon me, what about it?
With that pending is why we brought it back before, we brought it today before you instead of bringing it back to Magistrate Wagner, who continued it.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
We had also last time explained everything. The reason how we messed up last time was we thought it was homesteaded, this exact one, but he had owned 909, right? He had owned 909, and that was the property that was homesteaded before. So that's where the miscommunication was last time. I said, we can sincerely apologize on that. We thought that was the property that was homesteaded. It was the other unit that he had. That's why we are back here now, because we made the mistake of saying it was homesteaded when it was the other property that he owned before the divorce.
Okay.
May I also ask the respondent a couple of questions briefly?
Please.
There is an eviction in the court docket filed in January 2013 for this address for against an Estelle Reed. Who was Estelle Reed?
Estelle Reed, I'm not familiar with that name.
And
but I know that my sister, when she was here, she was dealing with some lady that was trying to help with the homeless women.
Okay, this is listed as an eviction from 913 6th Street, apartment number 1, West Palm Beach. Non-payment beginning May of 2011, and by December 2012, still owing rent and being in possession of the premises. The complaint filed January of 2013, showing that there was a written lease agreement, an oral or a written lease agreement to pay rent of $1,000 per month.
Say that again?
Which part?
Describe the lease agreement.
Per the complaint, it indicated that defendant Estelle Reed has possession of the real property under an oral or written agreement to pay rent of $1,000 per month.
Who was the complaining party?
Samuel L. Thompson.
Was that a pro se case, or was he represented by counsel?
Per se.
Okay. And your testimony is you do not know who that person is?
No, sir. What I'm saying is my sister was when she was taking care of my mother was in number 1. And I don't know whatever she did with the arrangement she made, but I know when I came back, she was telling I had to evict this lady. I don't know her from anybody. I never knew her. So, but she never occupied the unit, from my understanding.
Are you saying you did not file this complaint?
I filed the complaint, but I did it on the instruction of my sister.
But you don't know the name, what was it, Estelle?
Estelle Reed.
No.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other questions?
Just noting it's an eviction during the exact time frame of one of these cases before you today.
Anything further from the applicant?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. And, all right. So we have two cases. We have the 2009 case, which deals basically with minimum property standard type of violations, which has a $63,000 lien. And we have the 2012 case, which is a rental license certificate of use case, which has a $324,000 lien. I mean, you know, I'm hearing very passionate testimony that there was it was never rented, but there are court documents that show you yourself filed eviction papers against people you're now saying you don't even know who they are. I mean, that's just, that doesn't make sense in my mind, that if somebody would file an eviction for a property that's not being rented on a name that you are now saying you don't even know who the name of the person is. I mean,
I would add for the record, sir, that there are no further evictions that I find on the docket to reflect later years at that address, any evictions. So whether they were, how that dovetails into their testimony about renting subsequent to 2012.
well, you know, I'm going to make a reduction on these liens, but I don't find credible the testimony that it was never rented. I mean, there are court documents that clearly show the contrary. So either you were not being candid with the court, or you're not being candid with me. And it's one or the other, and it quite frankly doesn't matter. It weighs against the credibility of the testimony.
You want me to reply briefly, please?
No, sir, I've given everybody every opportunity to speak, and it's now my turn. So I am going to, in the case ending in 278, that's the 2009 case, I'm going to agree to reduce that to $15,000 from $63,000. I'll allow 12 months to pay that. And in the case ending in 445, the lien is $324,000. I will agree to reduce that to $25,000, also payable within 12 months. I'll sign that order. Thank you.
Your Honor, thank you, and I would never mislead the court, sir.
I appreciate that. I'm just, given what I got, that's where I've landed. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other matter number 7, case number CE 19050156, case address 506 Superior Place.
Whenever you're ready.
Case ending in 156506 Superior Place. Date ordered 7/17 of 19. Fine started 8/19 of 19. Ran for 624 days. Total $62,400. $100 a day. Date of compliance 5/4 of 21. Mitigation given was financial issues on a retired income, and they didn't know. We checked notice. Notice was proper. Case history under ownership was 4 cases since 2000. I wasn't able to check anything prior to that. City is asking for standard 25%.
Yes, sir. Give me your name and address, please, and then you can tell me about your request.
My name is David Alexis. I live in Indian Atlantic, which is 2.5 hours from here. He's my cousin. I'm going to speak on his behalf. Apparently, he never knew if there was violation. In early 2019, he had an accident, and since he was not able to drive, he returned his tag to the county and canceled his insurance. But he left his car there. Apparently, he could just, park the car backward. Nobody could see the car had no tag. But he was not faking anything. He did not know. Since he returned the tag, canceled the insurance, he didn't have to drive the car. And apparently, the court officers, put, maybe a sticker on the car. But regardless, for some reason, limited English, read and understand, and that was probably not matter. It was not until early February I came to his home to see his wife, which has been sick over 15 years. And while I was sitting there, I saw a big box with a bunch of letters. And I asked him, well, how come all those letters never been opened? What they are? And he told me, well, look at them. When I look at them, I found probably 3 or 4 registered letters from the city in the box with some other document. That's when I opened them. Apparently, I think 1 or 2 of them probably signed by somebody, but never him. So, and also he got his son, which is about 30 years old, live with him, but which is handicapped. Probably he's the one who received them, but just received them, put them somewhere. That's when I opened the letters. I find that his home is in violation with the city. That's when I came here. I take him here, and I probably spend probably good amount of time there before I find somebody. I think he was Mr. Posner, or if he's the supervisor, all I can remember who was the supervisor, who came talk to me, and I asked him, well, there is lien on this property violation, what is about? That when he explained, there is the swallow between the sidewalk and the home, need to be some grass, and the car since 2019 in violation because there is no tag and so forth. So if it's not him but the supervisor, give me a pack of papers, and the same day he went out, I think it was about 2-3 days, he bought some grass because he was not big. He put the grass himself and get tag for the car, get the insurance, and then I filed everything for him since I believe March 3rd or 4th. Around that time, he bring it to the city. Been waiting for this day. So we're here to hear from you, and there is not else to add to it.
Does your cousin live at the property?
Pardon me?
Does he live at the property?
Yeah, he lives there at the property.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir, very much. Anything else from the city on this one?
No, sir, nothing further.
Okay. So we have a $62,400 lien, landscaping, parking, and outdoor storage violations. I'm going to agree to reduce that to $6,000 payable within 12 months. Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Does that cover all the lien reductions?
One more, sir.
Okay.
We're trying to set a record.
Oh, number 15. There it is.
Other matter number 15, case number CE 2008-0264, case address 3619 Pinewood Avenue.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Posner.
Case ending in 264-3619 Pinewood, date order 10/7 of 20, fine started 11/9 of 20, ran for 107 days. Total is $21,400, $200 a day, date of compliance 2/24 of 21. 5 cases under their ownership. The mitigating circumstances given is financial issues and selling other property. According to records, they also just bought a $489,000 property in Loxahatchee. City's asking for 50%.
5-0?
5-0.
Thank you. All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Aaron Booth, and I'm here with my wife, Kadeen. Been married 16 years, got 2 kids.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, we just bought this property somewhere around 3 years ago, and we personally fixed it up ourselves. I have pictures and photos of us doing that. We worked really hard at this home to try to get it up and make it look good. We somehow, 2020, everything went really bad after we rented this place to a nonprofit renter that her company was named Second Start to help others that was less fortunate. So because me and my wife were in ministry, we decided to rent it out to her. First of all, let me say, we do believe in making sure that properties are kept up, and we agree with the city, making sure things look good. I would never go against that because we like seeing things look good. So as you can see in the picture, this is what we have done, and this is what we have done ourselves. But after renting to this lady, she also had a housekeeper that's supposed to keep it up. But I don't know what happened, but everything started going downhill. Then she got 2 couples that was a teenager into the property, and to help them because they didn't have anywhere to stay. And that's what our organization covered, helping those that were less fortunate, and that's why we rented it to her. And those teenagers started to break windows, trash the property. She called the cops multiple times and contacted us about it, but it was hard to get them out. When she finally tried to get them out, they was kicking in the doors, trashing the property and doing things. We found out that there was liens on the property, but it was posted on the fence and on the door, but apparently, these folks that were standing there must have ripped them off and disposed of it because we never received it. So then also there was a pad that was there that she had, I believe that was also in the violation, that she kept there for those less fortunate to bring in items to put in the pad. We told her that it needs to be gone after realizing that it was on the violation. And she stopped paying the rent for 6 months. We didn't get rent, she said, due to COVID. So we had to try to fight her out, and we have a court case on that too, with her finally coming out, so we had to get her out. And after 6 months, the court gave us that rent, and that's what we use towards bringing the property back up. So she's finally out, and we have a new renter now, and our future with this home is just to continue to try to keep it up and make sure that it's good and look good. It's right at the corner of an intersection, very busy intersection. Sometimes folks, honestly, they walk by and they throw stuff over the fence. So sometimes you have trash here and there, and it's hard to keep up. It's a very busy intersection. And so from there, I'm just asking, for help because, we do believe in making sure that property is kept up. We did purchase a home because we always dreamed to get a really nice home. We just got one together again. And that's how we found out about this lien, because they did a title search. And when we just got this home that we got in Loxahatchee, and we just was hit with another bill because my wife just lost our child due to child growing in the wrong tube. So we were hit with that bill as well. So 2020 is just real bad as far as cost. And we didn't even know we were going to stay here this long. I put 2 hours in my meter. So we're going to have to pay that bill when we get out of here. So I'm just asking you guys to help. I mean, we're doing our best to keep up the property, and we will. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Anything else from the city?
Yes, sir. About a week after the application came in, Mr. Booth came into the office asking about the case. When we sat down to review this, he argued every single violation on it, including notice. Consequently, although it's a very simple and straightforward case, it was thoroughly reviewed. Officer Petrick's casework was impeccable. If you'll look at the PAPA sheet that I gave you, you'll see their mailing address is still listed as 3619 Pinewood. That's the reason they didn't receive the notice. They have a rental property and they didn't change the mailing address. Still haven't changed it. When he advised that he had someone else renting out his tenant renting out the property, Homes for Homeless, I mean, I can't speak to how worthy they were, but they didn't get a license. The property was never approved for that use at all. City's asking for 50%.
All right. Any final comments, sir?
Yeah, she did get a license, and I have a copy of that license. It's actually on my phone for City of West Palm Beach. And like I said, we were new to this, so just 3 years ago, we didn't really know that we need to change that address to make sure that we have those items coming directly to us. We are new to this. We just got it. And that's the reason why that was like that.
Okay. So we have a $21,400 lien. Going based on the testimony I've heard, I'm going to reduce that to $4,000. How long will it take you to pay that, sir? Can you do that in 6 months?
Yeah.
6 months.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, do we need 2 minutes? Yeah, pardon me? Yeah, let's make it, let's try and be back on the record at 1:45, but we'll take a quick break.